Kathy, shall we get started?
Yes, great,
Good.
great.
All right. Good. Well, wonderful to be with you all today. Uh, we just introduced ourselves a little bit. We'll share more about ourselves as we go along and share about our own story a little bit, but mostly we're here for you today. We would love to share today. Let me see here that I can share. To share, as we wrote in the email, our experience of discovering lasting peace for us, and both personally and also in our relationship. We're in a relationship. For those of you who may not know that, some of you may have seen that with our last names, but otherwise, so we also have a rich backdrop of sharing how it works to practice short moments in a relationship. And then freedom from troubling thoughts and challenging emotional states, from worries about the future and concerns about the past. So if any of that is relevant for you, we'll be happy to share about that. And ultimately about the one simple change that makes life and all relationships easier, whether that's the relationship with ourselves or the relationship with others. So before we get started, we have prepared a few slides for you that we want to go through just to share together. We thought Kati could send us off with a short guided meditation. You're welcome to keep your camera on if you like for that, or if you feel more comfortable, feel free to turn it off. And that's also true for the remainder of the conversation here. Whichever makes you feel more at ease is perfect for us. So,
Great, yes, thank
Kati,
you.
over to you. I'll mute myself here.
Welcome, everyone. Very nice to be together. And yes, so this will take a moment, a couple of minutes, just to introduce the short moments teaching and practice in a form of a guided meditation. You can keep your eyes open, or you're welcome to close them. Both works, because this short moments practice obviously is not something that is limited to a sitting meditation. It's for daily life. It's like an ultimate short moment, ultimate meditation in daily life. And that's what we'll speak today about. But for now, you can sit comfortably. Some of you might be lying down, but sitting, and eyes open and closed, or closed. And just take a few deep breaths in and breathe out again. And I'll make sure that maybe everyone is muted just for now. Yeah. And take another deep breath in. And breathe out again. Make yourself comfortable and rest your mind and body. And let all the thoughts that might appear now, all the feelings, come and go. Just like the waves on a vast ocean, letting the thoughts come and go. There's no effort involved in letting the thoughts come and also letting them be there and resolve naturally. We allow everything to be as it is, all these thoughts and feelings. They're like a rainbow in the sky, have vivid colors and disappear, leaving no trace. And while there are lots of feelings or even sensations in the body, some thoughts about being here, about what it is, or maybe something completely different arises and disappears again. Something about you is stable, clear, alert, resting naturally. What's looking? Something is indestructible. The nature of mind. It's stable and clear, like a crystal ball, where all the reflections appear. But the crystal ball itself, remains untouched. It remains clear, crystal clear. That's the nature of our mind. We rest here for a short moment of open intelligence, of the nature of mind, what's looking, just for a brief moment. Allowing whatever arises to come up, just as it is. We relax and rest as this unchanging space, open intelligence, just one moment at a time, and just right here. You can notice your breath again. And you have your eyes closed, you can open them again, be right here. That was a short moments meditation. And we'll go into the slides and text today, that also all of this, there's nothing to understand other than just being here and letting open intelligence become obvious just without effort.
Thank you, Kati.
Jochen.
So relaxing. Good. Yeah, so let's go in there. And oops, I need to come over here. So fundamentally, there are two approaches to the use of the mind. We all know what our mind is, at least we think we do. we keep talking about our minds. So it's that by which you think, with which you think. And there are two approaches to this use of the mind. In one approach, the one that we're most familiar with typically in this life here, is the focus of our mind is on our thoughts, emotions, and sensations, all of which we call data in this teaching, just to keep it very simple and not to keep talking about different kinds of thoughts, emotions, and sensations. We sometimes use this word data. And the focus on our thoughts, emotions, and sensation means if you imagine, say, you get upset about something, could be about yourself or about the world situation, then the focus immediately goes to, say, elaborate a story on this, like why you're upset about it, or why you're wrong, or why the other people are wrong, or you're diving into the story. Or if you feel maybe some physical sensations, if we have pain, that's been one where this has been really obvious for me. Immediately all the attention goes to the pain, and we're like describing the pain, wondering where it's coming from. And so this is the first approach to the use of the mind. In the second approach to the use of the mind, the focus is placed on the nature of mind, open intelligence. And the nature of mind, as Kati just introduced, is that by which we know the clarity and the presence of mind itself. So in the second approach, that's where we keep our focus. That's where the emphasis is for short moments. And with this analogy here of the crystal ball, open intelligence is something about us. The nature of mind is something that is always stable and clear. So this crystal ball illustrates that. I also have one here, if you want to have a look at this one. And just like the crystal ball is unaffected by all the images appearing with it, you can see the crystal ball doesn't change regardless of what it reflects. It's always the same crystal ball. It's not less clear in one reflection or more clear with another reflection. It's always the same clarity and stability. So the nature of mind, open intelligence, remains lucid and clear regardless of the content, the data, the thoughts, emotions, and sensations that arise within it. So whatever appears within our mind does not affect the nature of mind. It's a different content, but the nature of mind is unaffected. And now this might sound a little theoretical to you. That's why Kati will now share with us what is the nature of mind.
Oh yes, what's the nature of mind? And this beautiful blue sky also is a metaphor. So we can also take a moment and stop thinking for a moment. And that might be really hard, but we can try stop thinking for a moment, and what remains. And there's an alertness, a clarity, this openness, the power to know, a spacious open intelligence that is present, that's what's looking. And obviously we probably have right away another thought, and that is, it's also not the goal to have no thoughts, because thoughts appear, they are unpredictable, they come and go, and we never know what our next thought is. And so the open intelligence is ever unchanging and spacious and open, like the blue sky. I sometimes love looking into the sky, not necessarily into the sun like here, but it's like into the vastness of sky and seeing that the nature of mind, that is a powerful metaphor. So the same open intelligence that is present with thoughts, is present without thoughts, is present, naturally present. It cannot be, it doesn't go anywhere. It just went unnoticed. When we heard about this choice, I recognize open intelligence. It's always present, but when the focus is on the thoughts and emotions, it sometimes is unnoticed. We might have had situations where we just notice that spacious openness, relaxed ease of being. And that's something that is always present. Natural, it's our basic state, natural state. And it's that by which we know that the thoughts arise and that the thoughts are present. And we talk about thoughts, but it's the same for emotions and feelings, thoughts, sensations we feel in the body. They arise and disappear. Yeah, and when the mind is used to emphasize thoughts and emotion, the view goes kind of I was trying to figure out what we see here, but it basically means we see everything is a bit more tunnel vision, and it closes down. I guess when we look out into the ocean and into the vastness of the sky as an openness, and then there's something that breaks it, tunnels it down into one viewpoint, into one thought. We can feel the tension of that kind of collapsing into these kinds of thoughts and emotions, but we're not getting rid of them. They are more and more seen as an energy of open intelligence. Johan, are you continuing here, or is it me?
Yes, I'm happy to. Yeah, so that tunnel vision is definitely something I'm familiar with, and it's in this short moment of open intelligence, when we recognize, in that moment of recognizing the tension, to just relax for a short moment and recognize what's looking right now, what's aware even of the tension. So in this moment of remembering the true nature of mind, that's when what we call rely on open intelligence. We really remember our essence, the core of our being that's always present. And whenever we notice we get sucked into this kind of a tunnel vision, it's just a reminder to relax again. So, and when we rely on open intelligence in this moment of complete relaxation, rather than emphasizing our thoughts and emotions, we have this more expansive, vaster view and experience. And it feels literally like a relieving, soothing energy. And the clarity of open intelligence is accessible to us. This may not always be as flowery and beautiful as it sounds here, but I remember for me the first time that I started practicing when I came across the teaching, 18 years now ago, there was this recognition, wow, this is amazing. Like if I just don't manage all my stuff, like all my thoughts, emotions, and sensations, and pause that for a moment, it's amazing. There's this freedom that we can experience in the immediacy of that perception, whatever it was. Wow, I can just be here for a moment and relax. So we rely on open intelligence instead of emphasizing our data. And that is the choice that we can take in every moment, literally in every moment. So initially, as we started practicing short moments, it might just be for a moment that we remember to loosen our grip on the thoughts, emotions, and sensations. And we recognize, we emphasize short moments of open intelligence just for a moment without trying to then hold on to that state either. Just for a moment, tapping in and recognizing that what's looking is always spacious and free, just as it is. And we make that choice again and again throughout the day.
The rainbow is a beautiful metaphor. I like it with just as a rainbow appears within space, thoughts, emotions, sensations, and other experiences appear within open intelligence. So I imagine the vivid colors of the rainbow appearing in space, and it's hard to grasp it. It is there, but really vividly there. Sometimes thoughts and emotions, they're so vivid, they're so strong, intense. And we can feel our feelings and sensations. They are there, and it's like the rainbow, and then it disappears, leaving no trace. And in open intelligence, that self-release of all the emotions and thoughts and sensations becomes more obvious when gaining a familiarity with open intelligence, and again, confidence in what is already our basic state. And so it's like a rainbow in the sky, all the thoughts and emotions and all the sensations. And yeah, like the rainbow in the sky, data are vividly present. So all these thoughts, we might have really strong frustration or sadness. And it's really vivid and it's there. And of course, it can feel limiting. And having that choice to take just a brief moment of open intelligence, that short moment, it means really short. It can be just a split second. That's how I started to practice, just with a split second, and allow the thoughts and emotions to be as they are, with their energy and their vividness. And then they are like rainbows in the sky. They leave no trace, and then suddenly the next moment it's gone, and it might come back again. And so these are the short moments that we don't have to make long. It's not like a meditation to get into a state. It's during the day, like we might be walking to work or washing up the dishes, and we can take short moments and let everything come and go. There's no good thought or bad thought to achieve. I like that open intelligence is within us. It's our natural state. It's what's looking. It's who we are. Whatever that means, but it means basically that's what's looking. It's presence. And it's not something we have to get here or anywhere, or also nothing we have to build up or cultivate. We do get familiar with open intelligence. So in the beginning, I had no idea what it is and what short moments is and what it is, or what that means. But just listening and hearing these words of the text and teachings and experiences of others have given me confidence and more recognition in these short moments. So, and it's something that we can count on. Like we can never count on a good thought or a good feeling. Like when I wake up in the morning, hope for a good day. I probably cannot hope for good feelings, good sensations, especially in the mornings. For me, I cannot hope for that. So I know I can rest and I can rely on open intelligence that I can definitely count on. So it's something very reliable. So it's innate, and we have to acknowledge that the short moments. So we practice, so to speak. Or repetition, we don't even have to call it a practice, to acknowledge it, because it went unnoticed, that the thoughts and emotions and the descriptions just they take over. And then open intelligence goes unnoticed, and the presence of open intelligence becomes more obvious by every short moment that we just allow to take. Yeah, so then it has this vast view. I like the mount. There's a little person, probably not a little, but a hiker there who is in the vastness of the mountains and can enter the vast view that opens up in a short moment.
So this is then the simple but really powerful practice for everyday life. Short moments of open intelligence repeated many times whenever you remember. So that is literally the entirety of the practice. We have many tools that can support us in that practice, but essentially it always is to come back to the true nature of mind. Instead of getting distracted by the content of mind, rest as the basis, as the essence, as the core, as the nature of mind. And since we speak about our true nature, it's not something that we need to build or cultivate or create or hope for or pray for. It's something that is so built in that we call it, right, our true nature. And what many spiritual practices and philosophies, religions are pointing to essentially is that there is something about us, our deepest core, our essence, that is pure and bright and stable and indestructible. And and this, what we call the nature of mind, has always been exactly as it is today. So we've gone through however many years or decades of life experience, but the you that's looking in the mirror has always been the same. The image is changing, like we might be noticing our face is changing, maybe our body type is changing a little bit over time, or our hair is changing, wrinkles, no wrinkles, all of these things are constantly changing, but the you that's looking in the mirror is always the same. That's the nature of mind. Another way is like if you think of, or just listen for a moment to all the different voices in your head, as it's sometimes called, or as we can experience, the dialogue that goes on between, like, when we don't know what decision to make, and then we have all these thoughts come, and the pros and the cons for a certain decision. You're the one that's listening. That's the nature of mind. the awareness by which we are aware of all the thoughts. Wherever the thoughts are going, awareness is there. Whatever kinds of emotions we're having, sad emotions, wonderful emotions, joy, happiness, or sadness and grief, it's the same awareness that's at the basis of all experience. So in short moments of open intelligence, repeated again and again, we bring what's always been there into more obviousness, into the foreground of our experience for just a short moment. We don't want to hold on to that, because then we make it into some kind of a contrived, usually with some kind of tension associated new state of being, which is really not necessary. And it's definitely something that I remember from my earlier days of practice. I wanted to hold on to it. And then it can become a struggle to try, like really be in open intelligence. But we can't do it that way. It's about relaxing and recognizing, and then letting the thoughts, letting the experience, letting our day continue as it does, and remembering again and again. And just with these brief moments, because open intelligence is already our true nature, we're not building it, we're not creating it, it's just making it obvious. It naturally becomes more and more obvious throughout the day, even when we don't consciously practice short moments. It still becomes more obvious. This is another metaphor. Data within open intelligence can be likened to a breeze blowing through the air. The breeze and the air are inseparable. Both are air. When a breeze blows, it is the dynamic energy of air. When data stir, they're the dynamic energy of open intelligence. You can feel the breeze, and it's inseparable from the air. It's like there would be no breeze without the air. In the same way, there would be no data without the energy of open intelligence. Or Kati mentioned the sky before, which is a beautiful metaphor. Like the color blue is inseparable from the sky. Data are inseparable from open intelligence. Like sometimes the sky, of course, looks gray, but just in this visual metaphor, when you imagine the clear blue sky, that's how open intelligence is filled, pervaded, saturated with data, and the other way around as well. So often it looks like open intelligence is here and data are here, and we need to travel from our data to open intelligence. But really the two are inseparable. There is no awareness without perception, and there is no perception without awareness.
And then, that's a beautiful metaphor. Thoughts and emotions self-release like mist in the air. Yeah, like we said, we have a lot of fog here, mist, but also real fog. It doesn't really go away sometimes over the day. But really, when looking at the mist or the fog in the air, and the sun comes and it dissipates, and that is the self-release that opens up, or is more obvious when relying on open intelligence. That thoughts and emotions self-release like mist in the air. We don't really have to think about the inseparability of open intelligence and data, because I always try to figure that one out. But the metaphors evoke it, and these texts evoke open intelligence, and that recognition that the dynamic energy of open intelligence is everything that is occurring here. And the power of self-release is built in. Yes, we can relax like that cat here, kitty cat. It's that relaxation complete. There's nothing else that needs to be done about thoughts and emotions. So that trying to get, well, I'll speak of myself, so trying to get into a certain state, or just trying to keep having good feelings or good thoughts, or trying to be a good person, or trying to be something, that effort in it, and the struggle of trying to rearrange these data, when we take a moment, a short moment, and let data be as it is. That doesn't mean we are passive in the world at all. It's just that moment of power, clarity, and release of data, that we can then rely on the power of open intelligence that really knows what to do, that can act, that can be direct, that can solve topics and can interact in relationships, because sometimes things need to be talked through. But when the anger takes over, then it's like, wow, and that's all that is seen. But the power of open intelligence in everyday life, to recognize that when the mist lifts. So there's where the short moments come in, and it might slip away. It just slips away in the beginning, and then whenever that's why we say also whenever we remember, and then hearing those kinds of teachings, or hearing these kinds of experiences, that all confirms open intelligence. Yeah, and then it's more like, it doesn't really mean that we're not doing anything, but it is a good metaphor, seeing the kitty cat relax. I'll imagine it in the sun, and nothing more needs to be done with all the emotions and thoughts. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm. Good. So that was what we wanted to cover with slides. We wanted to share with you how to discover lasting peace that would be in the nature of mind. We can't find lasting peace as long as we're placing all our emphasis on the thoughts and emotions. It's in the nature of mind that is always innately at rest, where we can find that peace. The freedom from troubling thoughts and challenging emotional states is in that freedom when we, in the moment that these thoughts and challenging emotional states arise, we relax like that kitty cat. We can see that the thoughts and emotions can't do anything to us. We can rest in their presence, and they arise and resolve. And then, of course, as you can imagine and probably have experienced in your life here and there, when we're in this natural condition where we are at ease with ourselves, where we're not afraid of our thoughts and emotions and sensations, there is so much more openness and connection in relationships as well, because we don't expect anything of the other person for that moment. We may still have expectations arise, but we know that what we're looking for is already present within us. So there's so much more openness and connection and real intimacy in relationships. So all of this is really just from from that same practice that then flowers into these different benefits or results, you could say. Good. Anything from you, Kati, before we open for any questions and shares?
That's great. Great to hear.